You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. And it is Wednesday, December 4th, 2019. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And we're supposed to be talking with Mitch Henderson in our third hour, but we're having difficulty connecting with him right now. But he wrote a book, basically A Man Beyond His Mission, an insider's secret history of the decay of American society, military, and so forth. And we're trying to connect with him right now to get him on the air here. Meanwhile, getting into the news, Steve Bullock has dropped out of the Democratic presidential race, and he said point blank, it's just impossible to break into the top tier of the candidates. And so he's basically pulled out of the race. And we're going to start seeing, I think, probably more and more candidates stepping out of the candidate race. And I think it's going to come down to Tulsi Gabbard and Elizabeth Warren and possibly Hillary Clinton. She is still refusing to say she's not going to run, even though she's missed the filing deadline for the New Hampshire state primary, which is a major problem. All right, so the House Intelligence Committee has released their Trump impeachment report. And to nobody's surprise, it's not very flattering. This was the committee chaired by Representative Adam Schiff, and he's released their impeachment report accusing President Trump of misconduct by withholding military aid to Ukraine unless various demands were met. Now, Schiff has got 4 witnesses, none of whom have firsthand information about what went on. So Schiff is after the president here. The Republicans, of course, have come out with their own impeachment report that basically refutes the claims being made by Adam Schiff and his committee, point by point by point. And basically, the House Judiciary announces 4 witnesses for the impeachment hearings. None have firsthand accounts of Trump's dealing with Ukraine. So they're out there pushing this thing. We think he did something bad, but we can't prove it. But by golly, we're going to refer him for impeachment anyway. And Dick Cheney rips the Democrats who failed to make their case, even though they stacked the deck. Remember when Adam Schiff refused to let the Republicans have any witnesses or cross-examine the witnesses? Basically just gagged them. Said, you know, we'll take care of this. Now, McCarthy has ripped Pelosi all over the place because she failed every standard she set for an impeachment. This whole circus began. Nancy Pelosi had a whole list of rules, if you will, standards, if you will, and she failed every one of them. So after the House Intelligence Committee voted along party lines to accept the Democrat-written impeachment report, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy ripped Speaker Nancy Pelosi for failing every standard she had set up for impeachment. So they're moving forward with the impeachment, and it's never going to get through the Senate. They don't have anything. They're just impeaching him so they can say, we've impeached him. He's been impeached. Donald Trump held a press conference today at the NATO summit with Canadian leader Justin Trudeau. And during the press, the U.S. president was asked about Democratic Representative Adam Schiff. And he said, I think he's a maniac. He He grew up with a complex for a lot of reasons that are obvious. He's deranged and he's a sick person. Now, the NATO meeting didn't go all that well. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. But the lawmakers are starting the debate over whether to draw up articles of impeachment against Donald Trump, based on a report detailing overwhelming evidence the U.S. president committed misconduct in his office and obstruction. There is no overwhelming evidence. There's no evidence at all. The House Intelligence Committee report published Tuesday accused Trump of subverting national security as he pressured Ukraine for dirt on a Democratic election rival. Now remember, it's been established that at the time of this phone call with the Ukrainian president, they didn't know the money was being held up. And the money was being held up because other countries that were supposed to be contributing to Ukraine were no-shows. So there's no there. And the president of Ukraine has said publicly several times, there was no quid pro quo. Now, let's be realistic here. There's a quid pro quo for everything. When the United States government gives Israel a ton of money, they're expecting something back, usually dead Palestinians. I'm going to do a shout out now to our on-air affiliates just now rejoining the network and trying to sell this thing to the American people. The House committee basically corralled up 4 professors on the historic underpinning of impeachment, and it's going to be utter chaos. Now, remember, these professors are also lawyers, and so they're not trustworthy. They're there to basically win for their client, and their client is the Democratic Party here. Now, Trey Gowdy has blasted Lisa Page. She says things need to be put in context. The word loathsome really doesn't need to be put in context. And when you say somebody will be a national security disaster, that doesn't need to be put in context either. See, Lisa Page is out there trying to salvage her reputation by saying, well, yes, we did these things and I was humping Peter Strzok and, you know, we had all these documents and everything, but you have to view it in the correct context. And Trey Gowdy is saying, no, we don't. You were reckless with national security secrets, and you were humping an FBI agent. That's all that we need to know. Now, Devin Nunes is punching back over this false hit piece. Excuse me. Is suing CNN for $435 million in damages. And this was against CNN for a November 22nd demonstrably false hit piece that claimed the California congressman traveled to Vienna to dig up dirt on former Vice President Joe Biden. Turns out Devin Nunes was actually in Libya at the time. So he's got a heck of a lawsuit, and I hope he wins. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign has banned Bloomberg News reporters. Apparently, they're getting, so how shall I put this delicately, creative, that they've just decided not to let them in anymore. Elizabeth Warren is vowing to wear her Planned Parenthood scarf during the inauguration if she wins in 2020. I don't think she can win. I don't think she can win. Her ideas are not very good. She's got that whole Pocahontas thing that she's got to live down. And I know she's still in the running, but I think Tulsi Gabbard is just going to clean her clocks for her. All right, turning over to Israel, the Minister of Defense is going to impose sanctions on Palestinian militants abroad. This is a written order imposing international economic sanctions on Palestinian militants. It's going to, punish them. Apparently, a new investigative report by Al Jazeera revealed on Sunday that an international humanitarian aid agency helped the Israeli army in a failed spy mission in the Gaza Strip. And apparently, Humedica International Aid is a non-governmental organization based in Germany, providing humanitarian and medical aid for Palestinians in Gaza. The organization backed a failed Israeli spy operation in 2018, hiding Israeli military equipment together with medical aid in warehouses. And Al Jazeera called it, "What is hidden is worse." There was another failed spy operation by Israel, where they tried to masquerade as Hamas and get into the Gaza Strip and put wiretaps on the Hamas communication. That one also failed because they were detected. People were saying these aren't really Hamas. So they're not really very good here. Now, this morning I was on the Richie Allen show, and we were talking about whether or not Donald Trump was caught in the honey traps that Jeffrey Epstein set out there. My comment was he didn't need to be. Whatever Israel wants, Trump will give them. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He's recognized the Israel sovereignty over the Golan. He's basically declared that the settlements on occupied territory are not in breach of international law, which, by the way, he doesn't have that kind of authority. And now, apparently, Netanyahu and Trump are discussing the opportunity to seize the Jordan Valley. And apparently, Washington is open to the move. Meanwhile, the Jordanian military training reflects rising tensions with Israel, and at this point, I don't think the treaty between Israel and Jordan is holding up. Okay, let's see. We're going to take a phone call from Joe in Tennessee. Aloha, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm watching the impeachment circus and just cheering it on. I hope they impeach Trump because impeaching Trump will be worth at least 10 million red-pilled Americans. I think it'll red-pill people that you would be surprised to be able to get on your side as far as red-pilling, because I've been trying to red-pill people with Waco and Oklahoma City and 9/11. And this impeachment circus, I mean, it's just gold to, you got Sheila Jackson-Lee just jumping up and jiving. They do the roll call, and you look at the people for Trump's impeachment, and it's Jew, 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 black, black, Jew, black, Jew. No offense. I mean, I'm just calling it the way I see it. And then you go to the Republicans, and it's all just kind of older white guys with a few women thrown in. And I think it's great. I know a lot of people on this program calling about Zionism and Jewish power. I heard Michael Savage talking last night about how this is really going to light a wave of anti-Semitism, and I agree with him. I mean, people, whether you like them or not, people, especially evangelicals, love Trump. And one of the Zionists' biggest assets in America, I live in Tennessee and I know, are evangelical Christians. Yet they're going to be watching TV and watching these radical Jewish lawyers and congressmen attack their president. And it'll help drive a wedge to anybody that's like anti-Zionism. This is a great wedge issue. I mean, a problem I see with the right is they're almost too noble, and they don't believe in fighting dirty. And part of fighting dirty is wedge issues. Use them. And this is a great wedge issue to turn evangelicals and start red-pilling them about Jewish power and the bankers and Israel. And they're going to be driven towards you because they're getting socked in the face by these attacks against their beloved President Trump. So once again, I mean, I just can't believe how dumb the deep state is. I think actually, though, I think we're living in a period of time where everything's being exposed and people are just literally like flashers. They're just opening their raincoats and exposing themselves. And that's what you're seeing. I mean, the Democrats are just so tone deaf. The people they have, this Jewish lady, the professor, I mean, she screams at, now I'm a loud talker too, but I'm not in front of Congress, right? But this lady, she just is, maybe to like some lefties that go to like some lefty school upstate New York or Yale or something, they're probably cheering her on. But middle America and other Americans, oh my God, it's just priceless. And this one guy, this Turley guy, I mean, he's a bit of a lefty. He voted for Clinton, but he's rational. I mean, he is actually so above the other three. Just by when he talks, he talks well, and his arguments are just, he really does seem like the only adult in the room. I don't know if you've really been watching, Mike, but this is, I just hope that it doesn't blow up in the face so bad that the Democrats don't impeach Trump, because I'm begging them to impeach Trump, because I want to see Trump go for all the marbles. I want to see him go for the Republican Congress. I mean, why should he even be elected if he's going to have a Democratic Congress? So, well, maybe for the Supreme Court. But anyway, I want to see him play this and go for a trial in the Senate and make it last and bring up Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Adam Schiff and the whistleblower. You know, because it's going to be great. I mean, he can literally destroy the Democratic Party and turn the Republican Party into a populist Trump party. And that's what I'm rooting for. So this is just a wonderful, wonderful thing to watch. And really, I'm really shocked by that there's not a rational person in the Democratic Party that's standing back and saying, hey, look, you got too many Jews up there, or, you know, you got to de-kosherize this kind of, operation against Trump. You got to make it look, you got to put some WASPs up there. You got to put some more Italian, whatever. I mean, because this is, it's actually comical. And, I'm just enjoying watching it. And once again, the red pills that are going to be coming from this and the radicalization is what I like to see. And there was a Republican congressman talking about that, saying, hey, this kind of stuff is destroying the public's faith in the institutions. And I'm thinking, great. These are the same institutions that allowed 9/11 to happen. That if we lived in a sane country with laws and justice, would have stood up and said, hey, wait. And they allowed JFK to be assassinated. And they rolled over for Vince Foster in Waco in Oklahoma City. So all these institutions deserve to be ridiculed, and people should lose faith in them all of them. And that's the beauty of it. I'm enjoying it. This is listen, Mike, I've been around. I've been part of this fight for years, and I've never seen like a chance like we have right now. I always thought we never had a chance at all. But we do have a chance. And that one chance is, first of all, if Trump's for real. And second of all, if he can get a Republican Congress with a Republican Senate and the Supreme Court in the next election, we might have more of a chance than I thought I'd ever see. And these Democrats are stepping right into it. So from here on in, it looks to me like it's going to be whether Trump's for real. And if Trump's for real, we actually have a chance for some real change in this country. And maybe some of these criminals and these criminal institutions will be defunded, put out of business, frog-marched, and shut down.
Well, there's an estimate out there that if the Democrats go ahead and impeach Donald Trump, that some 30 of their weak members will probably get defeated in the next election.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly that's what I think. Like I said, I think Trump's thought this out, and if they would have played nice, and we'd still have divided government. And I don't want divided government. I want to see Trump win, and I want to see him win the Congress also, so we can really have some radical change. Because we're having a slow change. It's not what we need. We need to have a serious radical change in this country. We need a Congress that'll vote to look into voting issues and voter fraud. We need the border shut down. Things that aren't going to happen with the Democrat or Republican Congress the way they're situated now. But because of this impeachment, it's going to radicalize the Republican Party and radicalize the right.
Okay, well, Joe, we got to let you go and take a break for
Thank you.
commercials. So we'll be right back after these few words.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children alike.
Angela Merkel is going to be visiting the Auschwitz prison camp on December 6th, 2019, the day before the Day of Infamy. And it's going to be awkward because she and her government bear the historical responsibility for what is described as the Holocaust. And 74 years after the liberation of Auschwitz from the National Socialist concentration and extermination camp by the soldiers of the Red Army, you have to realize the Palestinians are a secondary victim of the Holocaust. If you subscribe to the theory of the Holocaust, then the Palestinians are secondary victims because Israel's just been whooping on them and pounding on them and saying, how horrible of you, even though the Palestinians had nothing to do with the Holocaust. That was Germany. So, like so many other countries around the world, Germany is actually supporting Israeli apartheid. And a lot of people are asking Angela Merkel, why are you doing this? Well, because she doesn't want to be called an anti-Semite or anything like that here. All righty. Leaders of far-right Ukrainian groups that rose to prominence in the 2014 coup d'etat that they helped orchestrate, including the Azov Battalion and Right Sector, have recently traveled to Hong Kong to participate in the anti-Beijing protests there. It's unclear why the groups, sporting the apparel of a far-right hooligan group called Honor or Goner, have gone to Hong Kong, but the fact that both the 2014 Iranian coup and the present protests in Hong Kong have enjoyed the support of the CIA-spawned National Endowment for Democracy may give you a clue as to what is really going on over there. All right. So, we have Peter in Los Angeles. Aloha, Peter. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mike, I want to say that Joe from Tennessee was dead on it, really. You look at this proceeding, it is going to radicalize the right, and it is going to red pill a lot. He's absolutely right down the line on this day. And he's also right about who we're seeing on TV, and who every witness is, who every lawyer is, who they all are. But I wanted to, you were talking about the power of the lobby and all that. And if you can give me a second, almost all the big publishing houses like Simon and Schuster and even Macmillan and all that, they're controlled by Zionists. We all know that the banks, the very bedrock of all this, are the banks and the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank and the Bank of England, controlled by Zionists. We also know that almost every network, TV station, and news service is controlled by Zionists. We know that the movie, our popular culture, the parameters are put out there. The agendas are put out there by the Zionists that own and control the movies. We also know that I want to go one further here. By the way, if you look at, I'm a huge sports fan. If you look at virtually every owner of the NBA, and not all, but most, every owner of the NFL, almost, look who they are. Look at the people who are commentating on sports, by the way. Of course, it's owned by Disney, which is also Zionist controlled. ESPN
Yes.
is. But they're the commentators who aren't ex-athletes are almost all Jewish. So even sports is tainted that way. But I want to go one even, and before I go further, also the Supreme Court, 4 out of 9 of the Supreme Court. This is 1.7% of the population. All right.
Yes.
But I want to go one more. The parameters of the way we look at the world itself, Mike. Having been raised a Christian, an Episcopalian, and so on, a New Testament guy. But who wrote the New Testament? Who was the New Testament about? Even Jesus himself was supposedly Jewish. I don't really have a lot of belief in all that, but Jesus was Jewish. All his disciples were Jewish.
Yes.
And all the people who wrote the books of the New Testament were Jewish and just converted in some way or modified in some way. And then there's the Old Testament, which was all Jewish.
Yes.
So even the way the relationship we look at with God and the universe, the parameters are set by the Jews. Can I come back on?
Yeah, we're going to put you on hold. Don't hang up. We're going to bring you back right after these words from our sponsors.
are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. We're talking with Peter in Los Angeles, and we're talking about the for lack of a better word, the Zionist crisis, where they seem to have managed to seize control of much of the media, much of the banking, and unless you are agreeable to them, you're not going to work.
Yeah, that's right. As a matter of fact, you can't work for the government in 29 states, I believe now. You can't get a government contract at any level, state, local, federal, if you've participated in the BDS movement, which, by the way, they're now sanctioning Palestinian sympathizers. They don't hesitate to do that. But I want to I can paraphrase it by saying that almost every book you read has been vetted by their editors. Almost everything you see on TV, everything you see in the movies, everything you see in the news, everything you read in the newspapers is largely shaped and controlled by what they say. Even your religion has been shaped and controlled by what they say. But I want to make one thing about Merkel's going to Auschwitz. And to all the military people out there, there's something, Mike, that's called a morning report that's done by every single military unit at the company level, company about 180, 200 people, usually a captain commands. Every single day they have to get up, and the first sergeant pulls out a morning report. We have this many vehicles, this many are deadline, this many are operational. We got this many guys on leave, and this many guys present for duty, and this many people on sick call, and we're working toward our mission on this, and here's where we stand on our mission on this. Every single day, every single military unit, everywhere in the world, does a morning report. You submit that to higher headquarters. Well, during, I'm sure you know about Ultra, right? And the intercepts we have and the decrypt. We decrypted all the SS stuff and all the SA stuff. We were doing the highest level stuff they had almost in real time, and all those stuffs are archived, right? And so they're coding this stuff, and all these SS controlled work camps, labor camps, which Auschwitz was, not a death camp, although it was a horrible atrocity. There's no getting around that. It wasn't a death camp. But if that was their objective, and they're coding this with the assumption that the code and the code machines were unbreakable, and we have nothing at all on the status of on killings going on here, and nobody ever talks about that, by the way. It just goes to show you just how ridiculous that the whole thing is. But at any rate,
well, I mean, Alan Turing succeeded in breaking the Enigma machine. So if they were using that machine to do the morning reports, then yeah, they were being read.
Yes, exactly. And there's and all the archives that they have of that, there's nothing at all on that. And if there were, you can rest assured that they would be paraded front and center, right? That here they are. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this Sonder Commando group. Look at this Einsatz group or whatever that's supposed to be going around shooting people in the Ukraine or whatever. Look what they're reporting. Well, that report, and this is by code, so they don't have to be timid about what they put on the radio. This is highly coded. They thought it was unbreakable, but there's nothing of that. That's just one aspect. That's just one way of looking at it. But believe me, do you think if they had that the Zionists wouldn't be all over that? And of course, you've heard me talk about the logistics thing, and I'm Command and General Staff College trained logistician. I'm telling you, it was an impossible thing to do during this. The narrative is 6 million Jews and 6 million other people, right? That was the original narrative.
Yes.
And so if you're going, if you start out in January of 42 with the Wannsee Conference, January of 42, the decision is made, no paperwork, by the way, nothing on that at all, but without any kind of written order from Hitler, that you have to build facilities for 12 million people, round up 12 million people against their will in a total war zone when rolling stock and rail capacity is overburdened anyways, and there's a labor shortage. And then, people who you could easily, for a dime, shoot dead right there on the spot if you want to, exterminate them. You round them up, you had to feed them, you got them to a railhead, you take precious rolling stock that could have gone for supply and food and munitions for your troops. You put these guys, and you go to these massive building projects. So imagine building a project for 12 million people,
Yes.
and then only to kill them there. I mean, it's absurd. But at any rate, imagine how hard it was if we try to think about it. If we had to line up all the illegals in Los Angeles, think of the manpower that would take, and there's no fear that they would have that we'd be killing them. It would be almost impossible. So to do that in wartime, it's absurd.
When I worked in Munich, I toured Dachau, and they said basically this was a labor camp, and they made materials for the Wehrmacht, and there wasn't any extermination going on. There were people who tried to escape, and they were shot for that. But in terms of the mass extermination camps, it didn't happen.
Even in what is that, Schindler's List? Schindler,
Yes.
the German entrepreneur, basically profiteer, he had these people doing forced labor. Now, they were taken against their will. Some people, I'm sure, died. Many people probably died of starvation, but Germans were dying of starvation, brutality, yes, all that stuff. Horrible war crime. Not a genocide, slave labor. So,
when Schindler's List was first published, it was labeled as a work of fiction.
Well, it probably was. Most of that stuff is. I mean, all the Elie Wiesel stuff has been fiction, totally found to be fiction. So, it's just, now you can't talk about it. Just like you're not allowed to criticize them on the air or whatever. And thank God I'm retired because they can't get me now. But you'll lose your job or you won't get hired for a job. And that's the way it is. But, it is fiction, Mike. And you can't criticize them. And like you say, I mean, you can talk about Bigfoot and being abducted by aliens, but you can't talk about the Holocaust or the most, examine the history of the most destructive war in history, and do it thoroughly without, going to jail.
Yes.
It's, I know I'm rambling, and there's probably people who want to talk, but I want you to think, everything you read, you hear on the radio, you see, all your institutions, think of what's going on here. And look what's happening to the country. So that's, I'll keep you on as long as you want me, Mike, but there's got to be other people out there who want to talk.
Yeah, actually, the phone lines are pretty loaded up right now, so we're going to let you go, Peter. Thank you very much, and we're going to switch over to Don in Arizona. Aloha, Don. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, Mike, I heard a little bit of this hearings with these. They've called in these law professors, and this is a public relations gimmick. They have no reason really to call these law professors in and talk about. What they're trying to do is get Americans who might be tuning into TV to get acclimated to the fact that the Constitution is going to be trashed before long if the Democrats get elected, and they think they're going to get elected, and they're going to take over the country in a totalitarian way is what they want to do. This lady said, one of those law professors said that there were not one framing of the Constitution, there were two. One was the beginning, and then later when they had the amendments, some amendments in the 18th and the 19th century. But that's not true. They were not amendments is something different. What they're going to try to do is take over change everything, do away with the whole Constitution. That's what they want to do, and that's one of the reasons they have to get control. They have to take the presidency and the Senate. And another reason they have to do it quickly, and they're desperate, is because a lot of the Democratic strongholds are going bankrupt right now. They're headed straight to bankruptcy. Illinois, especially, but also even some of the other states, Connecticut, Massachusetts. If there's a recession, they're going to need bailouts from the federal government, is what they want, and they can do that only if they take control of the Senate, the House, and the presidency at the same time. And they're going to try to basically. Warren already said. Elizabeth Warren said she will get elected and she will do away with the electoral college. So what they're going to do is just do away with states, even more so than they already are, and just instead of a republic, they're going to try to turn it into a flat democracy, and it's actually going to end up being a communist. A communist totalitarian state is what they want, and people ought to think about that before you say there's no difference between the Democrats and Republicans. I think there is a difference because Trump is not going to grab guns and I mean, he's not great, but he's going to try to appoint some judges that halfway believe in the Constitution, and there is a difference there, and that's all I have to say. Thanks, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot, Don. We're going to let you go and switch over to Sherry in Texas. Aloha, Sherry. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, after listening to Peter, what's on my mind is garbage compared to what he was talking about. I have no idea about all this. Corporate radio is spinning their wheels. It's gone on. It's going on so many levels, like Don was talking about. But they're doing so much political damage to themselves, the so-called Republicans. I think it's both sides of the aisle, but it's just 3 years of garbage. and what I want to know is just a simplistic question, because it's where I can't even listen to it anymore. I just wish it would all go away. But if this is all about Biden and his son, I mean, if Biden and his son have done wrongdoing, which I think they have, of course, privately, if he or his son were to talk to Trump in exchange for a pardon, now this may be so simplistic because I don't understand all the other garbage, it's just garbage, would that end it all? And if Biden or his son got convicted in a trial, it seems like it would be a lot worse for them. If they just came forward and said, yeah, he had a legitimate reason to question us interfering in foreign matters. What he did was, if he wouldn't say he's going to say it, they'd probably kill him if they knew. But if he could just get in there and say, look, I did it, and I'm asking for Trump's pardon, would that end any part of this at all?
I rather doubt it.
Is that too simplistic a question?
Biden and son were basically in violation of the Logan Act, which makes it a crime to engage in foreign policy outside of the State Department in the executive branch. And so as a result, when you look at all the corruption that was going on in Ukraine, yeah, they're in trouble.
But if they went to trial, because his attorneys are working on whatever he can work, behind the scenes, he's always got things being checked out. If he were convicted, it could be a lot worse for him. And would it be possible, do you know, for Trump to pardon someone who's gone against the Logan Act, or is it just an automatic sentence of some kind?
Trump can pardon anybody convicted of a federal crime. He can't pardon people convicted of a state crime, but he can pardon those of a national crime.
Okay, well, I'm hoping Biden will come forward and say something, or his son will, because it's just lunacy over there, and it makes television not worth listening to. I miss your show like I can't begin to tell you, but y'all are talking about some very important things, and power to you, Mike. Thank you. I'm hoping Biden will step up to the mic. That's all I'm hoping, and say something. If it would help at all, I think he should do that, because the lawsuits after 2020 will probably be everywhere against all these people. I wouldn't be surprised. Our country is just so fragile right now. But what the Democrats are doing is sabotaging. There's 3 years of this idiocy.
Yes.
They're digging their grave. They'll never come out of this alive. And the Republicans, they don't want to hurt the stock market and everything. And it's just, it's crash time. But I just was wondering about Biden. I think he's got a lot of courage. He has stood up to the corporate media before when they said he's going to run for office. He said, no, I'm not, and get off my back. And I think he should have the guts to get up and say, listen, let me get the record straight. He had every right. Trump had every right to question us. And that would be so refreshing. And it might end some of the lunacy that's going on right now. So thank you for letting me pop in. Okay. Your show is of substance, but what I've been listening to is really trash.
Well,
totally
here's the problem, and the question is, we know that Biden's son Hunter is up to his neck in all of this corruption. The question would be, the issue would be, how much of his family is involved in all of this? Because until they're actually convicted of a crime, Trump can't pardon them. He can't commute their sentences, and so Trump may find himself. Biden may find himself having to deal with these issues.
A trial.
Yeah.
Well, then if he got up and said, "Listen, I want to set the record straight. Let's have a trial." I mean, he'd be walking towards a trial then, and that would be good. It would get something moving in a positive direction. If he had the courage to do that, I know it's against his family and everything else, but what's going to be up for him in the future if he doesn't? Because they probably have all kinds of stuff they're not coming forward with at this time. Trump always does things, you know, he has a time and purpose for everything. Right now, he's got his presidenting to do, and he's going to do that come high or hell water. But on down the line, you know, he's got the wheels going with the attorneys, I know, ready to uncover. That's where everyone's bailing out. Oh, I think I'll get out of politics and spend more time with my family. You know, they're getting out while they're safe. That 2020 could be a rough year for some of these guys. So I was just thinking it'd be nice if Biden would step up and say something and get a trial going. I don't know. You know, I don't know what
we got to take a break now for commercials. And
I'll go.
So thank you very much for the phone call. We'll be right back.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs, memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones to Al in Canada. Aloha, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Peter stole my thunder. Even brought up the Wannsee Conference.
Yes.
The fact that if you plan on exterminating a bunch of people, just shoot them right there. Don't transport them anywhere. Don't feed them. Don't clothe them. Don't do any of that. Just kill them. Right.
Right.
So
no, but these were people who had skill sets. They were cobblers, they were seamstresses, and it's like I learned at Dachau. They were considered a major resource in the German war effort.
Yeah, I mean, even to this day, there's a very simple fact that Jewish people tend to have a higher IQ than most of the world's population.
Yes.
Whether or not people believe that sort of thing, well, that's up to them, but that's the consensus. Anyway, so the Red Cross were in all of these quote unquote, what do they call these places now? These work camps?
Yeah.
What do they call? Well, they're going to go kill. They're going to kill people that go there, right? Anyway, so is Angela Merkel going to be shown with a picture of the newest memorial to Auschwitz, or the one that was originally put there? Like, because there's like a discrepancy in numbers.
Yes.
That no one ever talks about, right?
Yes.
And then there's the Red Cross. Their numbers don't jive with any numbers that are ever put.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, Mike, if 1.5 million people were killed at Auschwitz, this is a new revised plaque. Where'd the bodies go? No mass graves were found.
Yep.
Where do you get all that? Well, back then they would have used coal. Well, you have to bake the coal into coke in order to get a high enough temperature to do these sorts of things. It takes a vast amount of resources to incinerate 1.5 million people in one place. Not to mention a really long time. A really, really, really long time. One body back then. Well, Mike, nowadays, if you choose which I am, if you choose to get cremated, it takes about 3 hours.
Yes.
That doesn't include the cleanup, right?
Right.
So how efficient were these ovens back then? I mean, and what they do with all the ash? I mean, there's got to be some fertile land out there somewhere, right?
Yes. Well, the official story is that places like Treblinka, that there are mass graves. Okay, but ground-penetrating radar has failed to find them. Okay, Tom, stay on the line. We're going to put you on hold and come right back to you after these few words.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. 928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth. What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. And the bottom line is that we are coming to recognize the fact that governments lie to us about everything. And that includes 9/11, TWA 800, Vince Foster, the Holocaust. And we should not be surprised by the fact that we live in a world of complete deception.
It's always been that way.
Yes.
Right? Up in Canada, Arthur Topham was, he was right in the sights of Brene Brith up here.
Yes.
Just because he said some of these things, like pointed out all these simple facts on his website, and they got him for hate speech. And just dragged him through the gutter, calling him an anti-Semite. So this guy was sticking up for Palestinians, Semitic people, but he is now an anti-Semite because he was pointing out just facts on his website. He wasn't making anything up. He wasn't trying to deceive anyone. He said, look, the numbers are here. Go look at them. There was that fellow that was on the Donahue show. Same thing. Right?
There was that grandmother over in Germany. She got thrown in the slammer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, in Germany, you can't say that stuff at all. They'll come and get you.
No. You will believe as you're told to believe. Sig Heil, Sig Heil, Sig Heil.
Yeah. You know what, Mike? Even on your website, there was an article, what was it, about Angela Merkel calling for an end to free speech in Germany.
Yes.
We need to end free speech.
No, that's what they're saying. I mean, as long as they were able to fool us and convince us that John F. Kennedy was killed by a crazed lone nut assassin, ditto for Robert F. Kennedy, and so forth and so on, well, then we could have free speech. But now that we know we've been lied to and we want to talk about the lies, now they want to shut the free speech down is really what it comes down. That's why all this censorship is taking place on social media, is they want to basically shut down anybody who is out there daring to point out where the government has lied to us.
Nailed it, Mike. That's it right there, in a nutshell. That's it. They've lost control of the narrative. But not only that, we also know that they're not actually working for the people of the countries that quote-unquote elect them.
Yes.
It's already been proven, right? Anyway, I appreciate your time, Mike. This Trump nonsense is just nonsense. I like he called Trudeau a two-faced. He called him two-faced.
Yeah, that got really kind of ugly there over at the NATO summit, the NATO meeting, if you will. Anyway, thank you for the phone call. We're going to switch over to James in Tokyo. Aloha, James. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Mike. About Merkel. Totally wrong. She's not building any memorial. The purpose is that she loves these Muslims just raping and murdering her people so much. She went to Auschwitz to reopen it for the Jews that don't like the Muslims. So, I think if you put a mustache on her and dyed her hair dark, she looked like Hitler's brother. And she's really done a lot to destroy her own nation. I'm getting really upset of all these people follow that Greta Thunberg. To me, she bothers me. She seems like a privileged little bratty white girl who refuses to go to school unless people change the weather for her. And she really bothers me. In addition, I want to, I think I have Democratic disdain syndrome. Did you hear the story about the congresswoman who resigned because she was having like an affair with her aide along with her husband?
Yes.
California congresswoman. And so they have a new person who's running for her seat, a Democrat. And this Democrat, I posted an article about him on my Facebook, and he wanted to, one of the things he tried to do in the past was have bestiality legalized. Said it was okay as long as you can bring the animal to completion. So on my Facebook page, I posted that article, and I put, well, at least this Dem is an animal lover. And a friend of mine for 40 years was defending this Dem, and she says, James, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And I said, fine, but just do me one favor, and if you attend this guy's fundraiser, leave the husky at home. But I got to tell you, I really disdain a lot of these people. One of your previous callers was talking about how he hopes the impeachment goes through. And I really concur with that idea because I think it's a great opportunity to totally destroy the Dems, bringing all these different witnesses in from Schiff. I believe he was the guy behind the whistleblower and helped write all these phony reports. And I think a lot of Americans, they're not so dumb. Like I didn't watch the impeachment thing yesterday. I found it really boring, but I watched a couple of them before. And when all these witnesses are asked if Trump committed any crime, every one of them said no. It's just my opinion, and I'm presuming. And I think a lot of people are just seeing through this, and I think it's gonna. First of all, I don't even think Schiff will let it go through because I think he's scared. He'll get in a lot of trouble if he's called as a witness. So I don't think it is going to go through, but I hope it does. What do you think?
Well, I think I'm interested in seeing what the overnight ratings are going to be for the hearings because my gut is telling me that probably hardly anybody is actually watching.
Yeah, it's a farce, and it's a real shame. Like one of your the female caller called in, and she's like, "Oh, well, I hope Biden can come out and say something and stop all this." Come on, Biden's a crook. He's been a crook his whole career, along with his son. They've taken millions and millions from Ukraine, from other European countries, from China. This crook is not going to go up there and get himself in trouble. And though Hunter, due to his recent past, he might enjoy prison, but I don't think that Joe Biden is going to let his son Hunter go to the joint either. That's never going to happen. Just wishful thinking. And that's all I got to say, Mike. Have a good day.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot for the phone call, James. And we're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Aloha, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Good day to you, Michael. Aloha. Yeah, your last caller is good. Yeah, Michael, that one lady called you a few minutes back. She's got rose-colored glasses on. If she thinks Biden's going to help Trump, come on. Are you kidding? You know what? Let's look at Hunter Biden was kicked out of the Navy. Now, that goes to show you. This guy, Hunter, he was doing drugs. He got booted out of the Navy, dishonorable discharge, okay? If you know anything about the military, you understand that's a very bad thing. This guy's a multimillionaire being dishonorably discharged. So I don't know where that lady, the last caller, is right. Biden is a criminal himself, okay? His dentures are falling out. That guy's ridiculous. Listen, Michael, there's a few reasons I did call really today. The first one, you had a guy call a few minutes ago talking about the Jews. Listen, every one of your callers needs to listen to this. If you go to the Bible in Romans, and you read Romans chapter 11, 7, 8, and 9, no Jew, nobody will be able to go after you because that's in the Bible. It's written down in that book. It's in the book of God. Okay, it's called the Bible. It's called Romans chapter 11, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Read those and you'll understand what's going on. As far as the slaves go, the first slaves were not the blacks; they were the Jews. They were enslaved by the Egyptians. Am I right, Michael? Yes or no?
Yes, you're right. And well, it's kind of a fuzzy area because Sigmund Freud was convinced that the character of Moses was actually Amenhotep IV or Akhenaten. And according to Dr. Zahi Hawass, the Exodus did not happen to the Hebrews. It happened to a different tribe called the Hyksos.
That is correct. And, you know,
Yes.
that one caller said that the Jews are smart. They are smart. They're very cunning. I don't call them smart. I call them super cunning. Okay, as far as, like, you want to give results for the numbers on the Holocaust and all that, fine. I know it's overblown, okay? Let's not, I've seen one expert said that maybe it's 2.5, 3 million were killed in Nazi Germany, whatever. Of course, they overinflated it because you know who they are. They control the media. Whoever controls the media controls the mind. They didn't have the internet back then. You had to read a newspaper. It was all in print, black and white. But you know what? The real reason I called your show, did you see the breaking news today on Fox News on Newsmax about Joe Genova?
Yeah.
Okay, Joe Genova is being singled out now. He's being attacked by everybody because George Soros and ACLU are going after this guy because they are so PO'd at this guy, Joe Genova, because he's exposing this holy hoax and this, not the holy hoax, the impeachment, the cabal, the witch hunt of Trump.
Yes.
And this guy, Soros, is doing everything in his power to take this guy, Genova, out, okay? He's going to smear his wife. I mean, this guy, Soros, who's not even allowed, he's a Hungarian citizen, who's not even allowed to go into Hungary, okay? This guy should be locked up in handcuffs and put in a padded cell. You know, he's an old croaker. He's an old frog who hasn't croaked soon enough. He needs to croak because that's what he is. He's an old croaker, this Soros. He's an old frog. He looks like a frog who hasn't croaked yet. Exactly right. But listen, you know, getting back to what's going on with Trump and this, I watched 5 minutes of this nonsense with this guy, Jerry the Clown Nadler, and that Shifty Schiff Bug Eyes. These guys are schmuck clowns, okay? They're you know, people are going to wake up to what the Zionists are trying to do in this country by the massive millions. And it's going to start with the Afro-Americans. They're really starting to wake up because, Michael, they're waking up to see what's going on with this control of the Kabbalah, okay? The filthy movies they're putting on in Hollywood, it's total filth. And, you know, getting back to Hillary, you had Hillary come out today, oh, well, Joe Biden, here's a broad that says she don't want nothing to do with the Electoral College, yet she says, I think Biden might have a shot at the Electoral College. I mean, and you got Pocahontas saying issue, when she becomes president, she'll get rid of the Electoral College. These people are not Americans. These people are communist Bolsheviks who are so deceiving and spiteful of our country, of white Anglo culture. It's disgusting. And, you know, by the way, Michael, tonight, the guy from Sweden, I hope he has a chance to watch or record the History Channel is coming on tonight with the Vikings. The 3-hour special. Okay?
Okay.
So that's going to be on History Channel tonight. A lot of people can enjoy that. It's going to be for the first time it's aired the new season. And, you know, getting back to, like, what's going on in Europe with Sweden and Germany, like, you know, you're talking about Merkel. Do you know that Merkel was a Stasi? Her family are Stasi, Eastern Germans. They work for Stasi. Merkel was a communist. Her family, she was raised communist. And this broad is now the leader of a free Germany? Are you kidding me? Who wants the annihilation of the Germans? Are you kidding me?
And she wants the end of free speech.
She should be living in Russia. She needs to go live over there with Putin. And I don't even think Putin would put up on her butt. Okay, and then you got that other clown, the son of Fidel Castro, who lives in Canada. He looks like Castro's son. What's his name? Trudeau. They say that could be Castro's son. I wouldn't doubt it. It wouldn't surprise me that's Fidel's son. Who knows? They say the mother is real tight with Fidel. Who knows what's going on in this world? But as far as the people, you know, all these Jews saying we're so intelligent and all that, hey, all I can tell you, everybody in your audience, go to Romans in the Bible, read chapter 11, 7, 8, 9. Romans 11, chapter 7, 8, 9. I mean, chapter 11, 7, 8, 9. It's going to tell you right what you need to know. And they can't refutate that. And as far as the NAACP goes, Michael, who started the NAACP?
I don't know.
You know? The Jewish. The Jewish are the ones that wrote the first history of the NAACP, where mainly Jews who were in that. Do you know that? You check it
Well,
out.
I do now.
Well, you had Afro-Americans in the NAACP, of course, but it was the Jews that actually started it. They were the ones that started it. Just like, when you talk about slavery, the Jews are always going to say, well, no, we were the chosen ones, but yet we were put in slavery, we were put in bondage because of the Egyptians. I mean, there it is. It's right. It's all written down. It's all documented. It's historical. It's in the archives. It's in the Bible. It's in print. That says recorded history. So, and as far as recorded history goes, the Chinese, I believe, were the first ones who started recording history, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember all that. And like I think I called your show yesterday, the people in Germany and England, they don't realize, but the first 6 kings that sat on the throne of England were Germans. They weren't Englishmen. They were Germanic men. They were from the House of Hanovera. So this is all a big cabal to lie and connive and cheat and steal and finagle everybody to believe in their way of thinking. This is exactly what this is all about, Michael. And the way they look at it like this, Michael. There's 2 kinds of people in this world, and that's what their mindset is. You know what it is? There's horses, and then there's drivers. So you know what they're basically telling you? Giddy up. That's what's going on here. With all this nonsense with Trump, with this nonsense with impeachment. And, this guy is the president of a duly elected president of the United States. He's exposed the immigration invasion of this country. You always say it. You're always talking about Texas. They're trying to make that blue. They're trying to destroy the southern states to turn them blue, and all these leftist, licky-kissy, Bolshevik, nonsensical poop imbeciles we got running our government. When you got a guy like Jerry Fat Nadler, that clown, that bozo, and you got that bug-eyed Schiff, who are 2 Zionists. And by the way, Michael, did you see the breaking news about Ed Buck? Did you hear about Ed Buck?
Yes. He got indicted.
Ed Buck was indicted. He got indicted. Adam Schiff. Now, I want to know why Trump hasn't run ads right now. I want Donald Trump, now, if he's really listening, or somebody in the White House or whoever, why are they running ads that Adam Schiff has been to that man's mansion 16 times? It's all over Breitbart. Adam Schiff has been to Ed Buck's house 16 times, Michael. What for? Like you're always saying, this guy, Weinstein, Epstein, all these Steins. If Epstein and Clinton going into Sex Ranch or Island, whatever it is, who's controlling the media? The only one that's talking about immigration is One American News Network every hour on the hour. They talk about how many millions of illegals. It's cost $245 billion to take care of these illegals. They're sending out $28 billion a year back to all these countries. That money never comes back to the United States, Michael. Never. Oh, by the way, did you see what happened in Cuba now, Michael?
Yeah.
They got rid of the peso. Now everything's on the dollar. They're using the dollar and the CDC. Now, that was this on Miami Herald and the Broward Sun Sentinel.
That's
they
a
had it
big
on the radio
mistake.
today.
That's a big mistake.
Well, you're probably right, because Ecuador is on the American dollar. Venezuela is on the American dollar now, and so is Cuba. Cuba got rid of the peso. That's all over it's all over the newspaper for the last 2 days here. Sun Sentinel's been talking about it. For the last 2 days, there's no more pesos being used currency in Cuba. It's all the dollar and CDC, whatever that, or another currency they got. But, getting back to these third world countries and all these people, Michael, you have a super intelligent caller to call your show, and you're I don't know why you don't have I don't know why you're not like have your own TV show, man. I would support it, believe me.
Well,
if you had
I do.
Well, I know. I'm saying if you had if you had like a show, you should be on one of these major networks like Hannity or something in my book, but I don't want to go there. Listen, everything that's going on with all these, like Drudge, I don't know, Drudge is so big, but he is, I guess people watch, are watching his radio show on Savage and all that, but whatever. The fact of the matter is, Michael, yeah, you are big, but whatever. It's just like these people are so brain dead. They don't see the truth, what's going on with the phony media, like Trump calls it, the fake media, the conniving, the lying, the cheating, the stealing that's going on. It's every day. It's unrelenting. It never stops. It never stops. And it's a sad state of affairs, man. But, thank goodness there is.
Tom, we're going to have to let you go now. We got to take a break for commercials, and we'll be back with more phone calls after these few words.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendivite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendivite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And we're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are rejoining our network. And we're going to go back to the phones to Steve Elkins. Aloha, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, a couple callers back, you had a caller call and complain about Greta Thunberg. And I kind of feel the same sentiments as the caller. I'm a little tired of this Swedish girl who's clearly got signs and symptoms of Asperger's disease.
Yes.
But, I clued in that it's been changed. That's the new term is climate change. But very, very dramatic and like a little actress, basically. I mean, she was handpicked for the job, no doubt about it. But I would say to her, if I ever met this girl, I would say, well, aren't you more concerned about nuclear war? Because, really the bottom line is nothing doesn't really matter. Climate change, global warming, whatever we want to call it, really doesn't matter if we nuke ourselves and destroy ourselves. So maybe she should focus a little bit on the bigger premise here stopping wars and stopping needless wars, endless war, and the possibility of a nuclear war. How about focus on that? And I'm sure the other one will subside itself. But I would be more focused on the nuclear war aspect myself.
Well, as you say, she was cast for this role, and we're starting to see more and more where the powers that be will recruit small children, which they have medical issues, and the idea is that you feel so sorry for them, you're going to go along with whatever agenda they're pushing, that you don't stop and think about, are they in fact selling you a load of bovine excrement?
Exactly. Well, it's easy to sell the bills, the legislation on children. Have you ever heard a politician voting against a child? When you bring up these bills about money going, it never happens because then they'd be anti-child. They hate children and they don't look too well in the public eye. So nobody ever votes against the child. So it's a good strategy to use a child, especially an intelligent child. She appears to be very intelligent. But she was definitely handpicked for the agenda to sell something, sell the hoax of global warming, and again, changing it to climate change because, the data just doesn't quite fit, does it?
No, it doesn't. It never has.
Nope, it never has. You're right. That's it for me, Mike. Talk to you soon.
All right, fine. And we're going to switch over to Miles in Maine. Aloha, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, hell yeah, she was cast for the role, Mike. AOC got elected to Congress. So, anyway,
Not bad for a
I think
former
you definitely
bartender.
deserve your own I think you would definitely deserve your own show if John Walsh could have one.
Well, the problem is
as far as
that,
this
I mean, I'd love to have my own show. I'd love to be making the big bucks, but with the big bucks would come control over the content of the show. And right now, the fact that this is an open show, that I'm allowed to talk about whatever I want to talk about, that John Stadmiller and RBN exert no limitations on what I'm saying, that's very important to me right now.
Yeah, well, we saw that even with someone, who doesn't have all the, renowned knowledge that you have of different issues. We saw that in the Jesse Ventura case. That didn't last very long at all. So, but anyway, as far as this impeachment, Michael, I think it's almost turning into a value for the Republicans because I hear Democrats that just barely hang on as a Democrat because they won't vote Republican, but and they don't want to go third party. They don't believe in that. But I hear them complaining left and right, and they think it's just preposterous what's going on. And I think the Republicans should really, really play this out. I mean, I think Trump should taunt them into getting him into hearings in the Senate so they can really just hit rock bottom. And I think it's also somewhat of a platform to set the stage because after Trump, who do the Republicans have? So you start setting the stage and you start showing, off your guys like Nunes and especially Jim Jordan's fantastic, Massey, and some of these other guys, McCarthy, and you start showing them off that, hey, we're not going to be done in 4 years. Now's the new breed of candidate, and they're going to be more conservative, hopefully.
Well, I certainly hope so, but again, this projection of influence by military means appears to be part of the permanent policy of the United States, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or Republican. And I think the only way that's going to end is if we actually lose one of these wars.
Well, war is, I know you know, but that's not going to do anything except plunge our economy deeper into the abyss. So, but also, another guy that could use a show is Tom from Florida. That guy's always packed with information. He's always researching,
Miles, I got to put you on hold.
Kudos to him.
Okay, don't hang up. I got to put you on hold. We got to take another break for commercials.
are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And Erdogan has sort of opened up a giant Pandora's box in Libya that will be very difficult to close. And part of it has to do with Erdogan's territorial ambitions. In fact, he's apparently declared ownership on half of the eastern Mediterranean waters. And a Turkish diplomat has revealed a map which delineates waters in the Mediterranean claimed by Turkey amid an ongoing months-long standoff with Cyprus and Greece over Turkish oil and gas exploration and drilling inside Cyprus' exclusive economic zone. Well, we've been down this road before, and we've seen what happens when people start arguing over oil. In fact, Operation Desert Storm began with accusations that Kuwait was slant drilling under the border and basically pumping out Iraq's oil. So apparently Erdogan met with a Libyan official of the internationally recognized Government of National Accord based in the Libyan capital of Tripoli in Ankara last week. And they agreed on their own economic exclusive zone that penetrates into Greek and Cypriot waters in violation of the United Nations Convention law of the sea that favors Cypriot and Greek claims. A major reason why Turkey is only one of 15 UN members out of 193 which has not signed it. So although Turkey claims it's acting within international law to enter the oil and gas-rich Greek and Cypriot waters, it never references which international law. So things are getting very tense over there. Alrighty, interesting little article. This one came out of Zero Hedge. Will drones push the Middle East past the point of no return? And they're talking about the proliferation of unmanned aerial systems, both armed and unarmed, and it's altered how states and insurgents conduct warfare in the Middle East. And the widespread proliferation of these weapons, combined with the range of capabilities they confer and their potential to alter the logic of escalation between states, may cause significant interstate conflict to occur. In other words, if you've got a gun, you're going to shoot with it. All right, we mentioned this earlier in the show. Apparently there was a bit of a ruckus at NATO, where apparently there was a leak by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation of a clip showing Justin Trudeau, Emmanuel Macron, and Boris Johnson caught on a hot mic appearing to ridicule President Trump at the NATO 70-year anniversary summit. And it's made an already tense diplomatic situation downright unbearable. And shortly after Trump told reporters that Trudeau was two-faced in response to questions about the hot mic video, Trump basically said he wasn't going to hold a scheduled news conference to conclude the NATO summit, and instead basically took off and headed on home here. All right, this next story, got to scratch your heads and figure, after Jeff Epstein and Ed Buck and the rest of it, what kind of people are recruited into politics? So apparently there's this convicted pedophile who became a key witness in Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, and he's been indicted on charges of illegally funneling campaign funds to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign using straw donors. This is coming from Politico. Lobbyist George Nader, who was arrested this June at JFK Airport for sex trafficking a 14-year-old boy, has lobbied on both sides of the aisle for Middle Eastern associates, acting as an informal conduit to the Trump campaign, while embarking on a scheme to gain influence in Clinton's inner circle when everyone thought she was a sure winner in the last election. So while the Department of Justice did not reveal which 2016 candidate Nadler funneled funds to, Politico reports that campaign finance records make it clear that the candidate was Clinton. Now, even though she has missed the filing deadline for the New Hampshire primary, Hillary is still kind of waffling and saying she may run, she may not run. Apparently, she was on the Howard Stern show and wanted to put to rest the rumors about her being a lesbian, and got on the air and said, you know, I really like men. I'm sure she does. She may like both. Swing both ways. All right, we're going to take a phone call now from Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, that's I was going to talk about that with the NATO, with the hot mic off, and I was waiting for Trump to Twitter a response because, you know, Mike, all that's going on with the NATO, they all get together about, you know, because we all know what NATO is. It's about a protection racket and selling weapons to each other.
Yes.
You know, well, sorry, no, the United States selling weapons to everybody else. When's the last time the United States bought weapons from like France and Britain or Germany? You know,
Actually, the United States buys a lot of weapons from foreign suppliers. It's sort of a give and take situation. And I know they buy a lot of stuff from Israel.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought we saw mostly, with the jets, the F-35, the F-22, obviously the Patriot missile. Gee, I think they even have them at Walmart on clearance right now.
Well, I think the United States buys a lot of drone technology from Israel because Israel's definitely leading the world in that kind of technology.
Oh, yeah, Israel's got like a pretty darn good drone program and some other good programs, too. You know, some of it's stolen,
Yes.
backward engineered. But, yeah, Mike, all that's going on. They're all making fun of, they're all talking behind Trump's back. He's obviously Twittering something. But you know who's having the last laugh? And I'm going to say is Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin hitting that start button on the Power of Siberia pipeline Monday. That's who's having the last laugh, And by the way, that's only one of many pipelines. There's a few pipelines that are started. They're going to have multiple pipelines going to China. But, in January 8th is the startup of the Turk Stream. There's going to be an inaugural where Erdogan's going to. So, I mean, all this going on, it's a joke. The whole impeachment fraud, because it's an inquiry, it's not real, because Trump wasn't allowed to bring himself or witnesses, so it was a one-sided thing. It's a fraud. Nothing's going to happen to this. It's just, and I still, look, today's December 4th, right?
Yes.
Where's all the, I'm still waiting, like Sean Hannity and Julie, where is the indictments? Where is the brass knuckles? Where is all this stuff that's going to happen? Where's QAnon? I keep saying, no, I just don't see anything happening. I think it's all, at this point, I think it's all a diversion now. I just don't think anything's coming that's going to be substantial to that's going to mean anything.
Agree with
it's
you.
meaningless.
I agree with you. I mean, we're expecting the Inspector General's report on the FISA abuses, and the latest rumor is that he's going to wrist slap a few people, but other than that, they're going to walk away clean.
Yeah, the Inspector General. How long has he been in Washington for? How long has that? Was that Horowitz? Right?
Yes.
Is that horrible? How long has he been in the Beltway? That's what I mean. Like, nothing will change as long as you keep getting people in the Beltway investigating each other. Nothing's fixed. And in the meantime, there's no infrastructure bill still talked about. There's no tax cuts for the wee people, the little people that's being talked about. Nothing's been improved in the everyday Americans' lives. And by the way, I listened to Peter yesterday. I'm just curious if somebody from California or in the cities can call in and I'm just curious how much the rent is a month for the average little person in the cities, because it's expensive. And that's why some of the people are living in tents, and they can't afford, or they gotta be bussed into the cities to work, because they don't make enough money to pay rent. I mean, if you're making, if it's $1,500 a month for rent, that's a lot of money, man, for a small little 1-bedroom dinky apartment or whatever. And nothing's been fixed with that at all. Because we're in a bubble. We're in a housing bubble or a real estate bubble. I don't see anything improving. I could be wrong. I do live in a bubble, I guess, looking at all these articles and stuff, but I try to watch Fox News reruns, just skim through and stuff, but I hear the same thing. They get General Keane on saying Russia's the bigger threat. I'll never hear General Keane talking about how our borders are wide open because he probably has a paycheck from Raytheon.
Yes.
It's just the same people on Fox News, the Sean Hannitys or CNN or MSNBC pushing the same crap. But you know what, Mike? They're getting paychecks of $20 million a year.
Yes.
And What is the American people getting? Nothing. We're back. We're less than what we had. I think I talked about this before. In 1979, the average salary was $46,000. 2018, it's $48,000. So it went up $2,000. But I want people to think about, what about the inflation that went up like so much?
Yes.
So you know, I watched and also watched the thing on car prices. You know how the car prices are. You know, I mean, do you see how much a Ram truck costs? My God, like I didn't know. Like a pickup truck, like $58,000 for a pickup truck. My God, man, that's nuts. You know, who can? They have 8-year financing plans. I never knew that. I mean, that's crazy. So you know, Rothschild won, Mike. You know, the debt slavery has won, because that's what we're in, the world. You know,
Yes.
we're a debt slavery world. That's what it comes down to. You know, what did Rothschild said? You know, give me a nation, control of a nation's currency. I care not who makes the laws. This is what it is, man. Like, we'll
Yes.
never get out of where we're at now, and nobody's fixing it. And I'm still waiting for Trump to pull out the brass knuckles, Mike. Where's the brass knuckles? You know, where is the progress? I don't see nothing happening. And Trump can get in for another 4 years. What happens after the 4 years are up, Mike? We're back to zero. Because
Yes.
whoever gets in after Trump is going to be, what, Mitch McConnell's grandson? You know what I mean? Or Chelsea Clinton, for God's sake? My God.
Oh, I
you
get
know,
chills just thinking about that.
Well, you know what I mean, though, Mike. It's going to be somebody who's still part of the establishment. You know, and I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard because, you know, she could be their secret weapon. I don't know. You know, I want somebody to come in from, like, the cornfields of Oklahoma or something. Kansas, you know, I mean, it's just...
Well, how
I
do you
just
feel
don't see
about
it happening.
Indiana?
Okay, cornfields of Indiana. Run for office, Mike. Because as far as I can see, I can see miles away, I don't see anybody that's going to break the cycle we're in. And it's a cycle, it's a bad cycle. You know, economically, it's a bad cycle because there's a lot of debt in the world, people. We got a lot of
Yes.
debt here, and there's just nothing happening. We're stagnating. It's kind of like
Yes,
what Japan in the 90s, right? Like Japan
Yes.
in the 90s, from the 90s on, they're still in stagnation. You go to Indonesia, Mike, they got airports with waterfalls in the center of the airport coming down. They got hotels in there and all. It's brand new infrastructure. What do we got? What do we have? Nothing's
Dust.
being fixed. Nothing's. There's no like. The companies are not even like bringing stuff. You know, like putting out anything for. It's just they're buying their own stocks back and up in their into the stock market. But there's nothing really. There's no, like I said, there's no infrastructure happening here. We need infrastructure now, like not a year ago or 2 years ago. You know, I mean, like I said, it's December 4th, man. Like when is things going to get moving, Mike? I keep.
Well, I don't know,
I
but
know.
I know that in China they have built a highway system that's the envy of the world. They're adding something like 6,000 miles every single year, and it's now the largest highway system in the world. And I remember when Eisenhower built the interstate, which he got the idea from Adolf Hitler and the Autobahn, and they were pointing to it with pride and saying, "Oh, look at this wonderful thing we've done." Well, now we've been left behind by China.
Exactly. Mike, they got a highway in China they put in with all solar panels in the asphalt. I don't know what it's made out of, but that's amazing. I don't think we have anything like that here. You know, but we need something, and we're going to need it soon, Mike, because we're being left behind, folks. That's it. We're definitely in decline, and we're falling behind. And
Definitely are.
If you don't get started now, it's going to be rough. And that's all I got to say, Mike. Have a good night.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Cliff in Maryland. Aloha, Cliff. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. It's good to be calling in. I've been listening to your program for a long time. It's only the second time I've called. I'd like to make an observation. First of all, I'm really sick of all the political talk that I hear everywhere, and I just feel like all of this Trump stuff is it's like you either love him or you hate him, and that's where everything just falls down to that. And, you know, the media creates all this stuff, and it reminds me of a football game. You know, you got people, they root for this team, and these guys over here root for the other team.
Yeah.
And as long as they're just screaming at each other, you know, nothing's going to get accomplished. And, you know, we can criticize the media, but if we're still echoing their talking points, then we're still under their grip, you know.
Yes.
So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. But what's been bothering me lately the most is all this technology that's kind of being forced on us. And, you know, I hear the music. I can wait.
All right, yeah, don't hang up. We're going to put you on hold, and we'll be right back after these commercials.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Many people tell us about their experience with Extendivite. Just listen to what Glenn has to say.
Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Extendivite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75% dandruff, almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out. I would skip a beat. Very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
OMG! People are jumping on board to the Life Change Tea Regiment. Brew, steep, and drink for a gentle, taste-great cleanse. It's changing how they feel. See what everybody's talking about. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Life Change Tea aids in digestive slowdown and helps people get moving down a healthy path. We won't make claims. We'll just let you decide. Experience is much better than a commercial anyway. If you want results, log on to getthetea.com and purchase your Super Strength Cleansing Tea. You won't be disappointed. And if you're looking for some mind-body suggestions, go to YouTube and punch in the search bar Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. Put power into your health now. So, getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com for Super Strength Tea. And YouTube, Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now for valuable suggestions. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. We're talking with Cliff in Maryland about the economy. And There's absolutely no question that our economy is in serious trouble. We've got something like $21 million in public debt and no idea how to pay it off, other than to simply print up more money and inflate the debt away, which of course is always going to be bad for the dollar.
Right. Well, and I feel like what can we do to push back on some of this? And I really think that the best thing that we have is how we spend our money. So if we choose not to support the things that we don't like, then that's the best way that we can speak and represent ourselves. So when people complain about the technology and the changes, the constant change in technology, all these, as soon as you get used to one phone, they come out with a new one. As soon as you get used to one device, they come out with a new one. And I feel like so many people just don't get that. Like what that's all about is to just keep us spending our money on junk that we don't even need. So it's much better to have a piece of equipment that you know how to use, even if it's an older piece of equipment, than to have something new that you're constantly behind that learning curve. And if we know that the new technology is only there to spy on us anyway, why do we keep buying these iPhones? I mean, personally, I have a flip phone. I'm happy with it. I don't spend money at a place that doesn't accept cash because I deal in cash. I don't do self-checkout. I don't have a smart meter on my house. I mean, I'm pushed back in every possible way. And I feel like even if it's just 10 or 15% of us that's pushing back on this stuff, it's going to make a difference because the businesses that do accept cash, they're still going to get those customers that use cash or credit card. But the ones that stop taking cash or they stop putting tellers in there or cashiers, go to a different store and tell them that's why you're going to a different store. And I think if enough of us assert ourselves in that way, but people, I think they just kind of feel like, oh, well, this is what everybody's doing, or, oh, well, if you got kids, they got to have the new video game or they're going to get picked on at school or something like that. Like, that's the most important thing in people's minds. They're afraid to step out and do something, and people look at you, oh, well, what do you got an old phone for? Like there's some embarrassment that goes along with that or whatever. But the more people you talk to, the more people you find that they're tired of all this new stuff. I mean, just 15, 20 years ago, everybody wanted their kids to be on a computer. Everybody was looking at this as a positive thing, and I was always the outcast because I never was into that. But now more and more people are saying, I wish I could just keep my kid off of these devices, But then when you look at the parents, they're on their device too. So the kid's watching the parent and wanting to do what the parent's doing. So, you got to lead by example sometimes.
Well, you're absolutely correct, and I'm in agreement there. And I absolutely will not do business with a retail outlet that uses self-checkout, because if we don't create the jobs, it's all going to fall apart. Anyway, Cliff, we're going to let you go. We got to take a break for station identification. Back with another phone call after these few words.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, keep it today.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 3, and we're going to go right back to the telephones to Daniel in British Columbia. Aloha, Daniel. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, aloha, Michael. I want to talk about Ukraine, but first, I just want to mention with Trudeau, with Trump saying that he's two-faced. One of those faces is blackface, just in case I needed to remind anybody.
I remember that reference, yes.
So this whole impeachment fiasco, it's so much deeper than I think a lot of us even know. And a friend of mine here in Canada talked to me about it, and he said, "You got to watch this YouTube video. It's about 2 hours long. It's made by Glenn Beck." Now, I can't stand Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit of a wanker, and I'd never suggest watching a 2-hour documentary with Glenn Beck, but I am now because I've seen it, and it goes into this timeline of the whole. Well, not the whole thing about Ukraine. He doesn't touch on Victoria Nuland handing out cookies or anything like that. And I never expected he would, because I think he's a bit of a gatekeeper. But this thing, it's a really good thing. It's called Ukraine, the Democrats' Russia. And it exposes all kinds of WikiLeaks cables, Clinton Foundation, missing billions. This thing's much bigger than Joe and Hunter Biden. There's Tony Podesta is involved. Once you get the Podestas involved with stuff, you know it's shady. I mean, everyone was grabbing a piece of the pie after the coup d'etat. And it just seems like they have to get rid of Trump, because he was trying to expose that with the new president. He's trying to say, hey, you got to look at all this corruption here. And that's a no-no. Can't touch the Clinton Foundation. So George Soros is named. So I suggest any of the Rivero's Rangers, I mean, I hate to say, try and watch a 2-hour Glenn Beck video, but here I am doing it. And I just think once you do watch it, you'll start going, holy moly, there's a lot more to this than we really know. And that's about it. I'll give a shout out to Ken from New York. About 2 weeks ago, he gave John Stadtmiller $400, which is awesome. I wish I could give right now. Yeah, I wish I could give. We've got a 3-year-old baby, and things are really tight right now. And I have given to RBN in the past, $50 here, $20 here, and
every bit
I'll just
helps.
remind any of the listeners.
Every bit
yeah,
helps.
any of the listeners out there, just reach into your stocking and put into
I've had
RBN
people
stocking.
send me dollar bills.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, it all adds up. So, all right, I'll leave you with that.
All right. Well, Daniel, thank you very much for the phone call. Let's move over to Chance in West Virginia. Aloha, Chance. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Michael. I just have to congratulate Cliff from Maryland. He was a breath of fresh air. He was the best caller you had today. He concentrated on solutions. Most of those solutions that he came up with, I already do, just like him. Regurgitating the mainstream media politics. It's getting tired and frustrating. and we have no control over it. It's so crooked. I don't see a way out of it, I'll be honest with you. We have to concentrate on solutions, and Cliff from Maryland, like I said, was a breath of fresh air. I hope more callers like him call into the show.
Well, unfortunately, I've put a great deal of thought into this, and I think the only solution is going to be for the entire system to come crashing down. And then we grab all the money junkies and we give them a good thick coating of tar and feathers, and we show them to the borders of our cities, and basically kick them out along with the illegal immigrants. But there's absolutely no question that in the name of politics,
might be right there, Michael.
Yeah, in the name of politics, they've really wrecked the place.
Yes, they have. And like I said, talking about any of the points that the mainstream media touches and debating about it is, as far as I'm concerned, is such a waste of time at this juncture. We're in deep crap, and we have to start looking for solutions. And Cliff brought up those things, and it's ironic because I do the same things that he does. I fight back in my little way, and I boycott. I get away from the status quo as much as I possibly can, because I know there'll be a day when we can't. And that's going to creep up on us if we keep talking about things that we can't change rather than things that we should be doing at the moment. And so I'd like to say one more time, kudos to Cliff. And I hope more callers call in, Michael, with suggestions such as his. And Michael, have a good night now. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, and have a Merry Christmas here. We're going to do a shout out now to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining our network. So, article coming out of South Front. Is Russia overtaking the U.S. in the realm of strategic bombers? Now, the strategic bombers are the big wings, the ones that carry a huge load. The B-52 is considered a strategic bomber. And according to Deputy Defense Minister Yuri Borisov, the entire fleet of Tu-160 bombers will be replaced with the newer Tu-160M2 version, in addition to heavy upgrades of all operational aircraft. All onboard radio electronics, equipment, and engines will be replaced. Now, let's see. We've got a caller on the line here, Kelly in Austin. We do Kelly in Austin already?
No.
Okay, Kelly, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on 1 second. I'm making gumbo right now, and I need to push this aside.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Claire's out in the kitchen
I'm
rattling the pots and pans right now.
No, hold on. I grew up in Louisiana, and gumbo to me is life, and so this is gumbo.
Oh, I've had gumbo. I used to work on a Mississippi riverboat. We had it all the time.
I'm not sure you did. Look, I'm calling about with reference to a call that one of your previous callers made, and that was with regard to the cost of the phones. And
yes.
I'm somebody who spent a lot of money on phones over time. I had expensive iPhones and whatever else. Spent countless thousands of dollars on these damn things, and finally I got tired of it. The last phone I had was an Android phone, and it burned out, and I got tired of it. I was in New Orleans, and I was trying to get back home, and finally I got back to Austin and went to the to AT&T and said, "Look, I'm not going to pay this much for a phone." I asked what was available as an Android phone. They wanted to sell me an iPhone, and I said, I don't want anything Apple, period.
Yes.
And so they wanted to sell me an expensive Android phone, and I said, no, I don't want an expensive Android phone. What I want is a phone that just does basic internet. I don't want all the bells and whistles. I don't want to pay more than about $400 for the phone. And so the guy, I talked with the guy for a while, and he said, you really don't need anything more than that, to tell you the truth. If you're not playing all these games or whatever else on your phone, he said, this one will do everything you want to do. You'll be able to get on the internet and listen to listen to radio and whatever else, and it won't cost you more than $400. Fine, I bought it. I've had no problems with it since then. The problem people have is they go to these damn stores, and the salesman sell them on the idea that you have to have all these bells and whistles on these phones.
Yes.
And you end up you end up paying $1,000 to $1,200 or so on a phone that's going to be obsolete in 2 to 3 years. People need to tell AT&T and Verizon, whatever else, I don't want all the bells and whistles. I don't need all that nonsense. Just sell me something basic that gets me onto the internet and that allows me to communicate with other people. I don't want everything else that you're trying to cram into a phone so that you can charge me 3 times what a phone is really worth. I've had this thing now for 6 months, and I'm very happy with it. It's a basic Android phone, and frankly, I'm convinced that I will never ever buy another expensive phone again. By expensive, I mean anything more than $400. This thing is absolutely one of the best phones I've ever had. So you might want to pass that on to your listeners.
I'm in the opposite direction because we've had Android phones and they did not work very well. So Claire and I are back on iPhones, but we have an older iPhone, iPhone 7, and we got the large screen size for Claire, and we're very happy with that. In fact, they gave us a really sweet deal that included 2 free iPads.
Well, okay, you got a good deal out of that, but I mean that always comes at a cost. Apple always buries things in its operating systems that allows it to track you, and I'd be very aware of anything.
Yeah, but that's true of the Android system.
What they tell you. It's on the Android system, and I admit that. But the point here with me is that I just refuse to pay extra to have them track me. And this thing has been fine. When I'm not listening to you or somebody else on the internet, the phone is sitting over in the corner of my office, period. And so if they're trying to track me, they're trying to track, they might as well track an oak tree outside, period. So don't spend, my point simply is don't spend more money on a phone than you need to spend, because all you're doing is you're enriching Apple and all the other companies that make these damn phones at your expense, period. That's all I have to say here.
If you're concerned about the tracking, obviously turn the phone off and wrap it in about 6 layers of aluminum foil, and that'll basically cut off the signal.
That will certainly do it. And for me, I'm a semi-retired consultant, and if they want to follow me around, they're going to go to some very dull places. But I just refuse to have them do that. So I have the phone. I said it sits in the corner of my office. I have a Bluetooth connection, which I listen to, which I listen to the phone. And other than that, I walk around. They don't know where I'm doing, where I am, and I'm happy with that. But don't spend 2 or 3 times on a phone what you really need to spend. They load all this nonsense onto a phone in order just to charge you extra, so that they can charge you more and track you more. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Anyway.
Okay.
I've said my piece.
I mean, that's basically good advice as a general rule of thumb. First of all, if you're going to spend the money, spend it on quality so that it doesn't burn out in 5 years' time. And you can come to rely on it. And that's...
How long have you ever used the phone? 2, 3 years, maybe 4 years?
Let's see. I think I had a Trio which lasted about 5 years.
That's a very long time for a phone to last. Most people I know who buy phones probably cycle those things in and out about every 2 to 3 years. And so
but you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
No, you don't. No, you don't, and you shouldn't do that. But the point is that they do, and all they're doing is that they're giving money to people, Apple and whatever else, for no reason other than the fact that they need to have the latest technology. Get over the fact that somebody put something else onto a phone increase the pixel density on the camera or whatever else by however many megapixels. You don't need that. You don't need to worry about that. Just use the phone for what it's used for, and for me, for example, I have no use for it whatsoever for all of the bells and whistles, other than the fact that I get onto the internet and I can listen to radio and podcast on the internet. Nothing else beyond that. And so when you cut that out, you cut down the cost of the phone. It's like buying a watch, for example. You can buy a watch with all the other dials on it, and all that does is that drives up the cost of a watch 3 times for functions that you're never going to use. I got over that years ago. I use a pocket watch now.
Well, I like pocket watches. I gave my last one away to a railroader in Washington State. And now, of course, I have the SiWatch, which, integrates with the iPhone, and it's actually kind of useful. Unfortunately, the other day, I think it was Monday, we literally got dragged in the wrong direction by the mapping system. It was like we were an hour away from home before we realized that we were being taken in the wrong direction by the software. And it's very frustrating because only about a month ago, the iWatch software was updated, and apparently it added more problems than it solved.
Well, that creates recalibration problems when they do that.
Yeah,
and that will throw you off. I've had that with GPS happen with GPS systems before. You get an update, and next thing you know, you're in the next state. So yeah, you have to be careful about that. I'm looking right now at an old pocket watch, Hamilton Railway Special, 1935.
Oh yeah,
one of the best watches I've ever had, and I highly recommend them. They're easy to read, especially for somebody with my bad eyes. Mike, I enjoy your show, and I appreciate talking with you. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you very much here. We're going to get on back to the news here. And I will admit to being a little bit of a gadget freak. And part of that, of course, is growing up with NASA, growing up with film effects equipment, and but it can get very frustrating when things don't work the way they're supposed to. All right, so let's get on back to the news here. Largely unbeknownst to the general public, executives and top journalists of almost all major news outlets have long been members of the influential Council on Foreign Relations. Now, established in 1921 as a private bipartisan organization to awaken America to its worldwide responsibilities, the CFR and its close to 5,000 elite members for decades have shaped U.S. foreign policy and public discourse about it. As a well-known council member famously explained, they transformed the American Republic into a global empire, albeit a benevolent one. I don't know about that. All right, let's go to Khalil in Berkeley. Aloha, Khalil. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. How are you doing?
Doing fine.
Good, good. I had a suggestion about the phone. You know, I got this. You can get a Google 5 phone. I think it's called Nexus 5. You could go to UB ports and you could install Ubuntu Touch on it, because Ubuntu Touch is no longer maintained by Ubuntu, but it's now it's done by, it's open source and it's done by a couple of people. You don't have to use any Google services, and those phones are not that expensive. They're I think I got one for like $130 or something. You might be able to find a new one too. I got me a new one for like around $130, and you could put Ubuntu Touch on it. There's a website in case anybody's interested in it. It's called UB Ports. Just use a search engine, search for UB Ports.
Here's my problem. Okay, at my age, I don't want to have to tinker with the TV, the computers, the iPhone. I just want to buy them, give them my money, and I don't want to have to tear in there. When I was younger, I loved tearing apart computers and fixing them or hot rodding them. but not anymore. Anyway, Khalil, we have to let you go now. We've got to take another break for commercials.
It's easier now, though. Just to let you know, Linux is a lot easier now than before.
Well, I love Linux. I do have a cut of Linux on this machine.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to let you go.
Bye.
We'll be right back.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Some have maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And getting on back over to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, apparently there is a book out by their supposed handler who basically said that Epstein and Maxwell were spies who used underage sex to blackmail politicians. And they ran this honey trap operation where they would provide young girls to politicians in order to squeeze them for information for the Israelis. And this is claims being made by Ari Ben Menesh, who claims he is a former Israeli spy. There are a few of them out there, like Viktor Ostrovsky, and Ben Menashe claims he was the handler of Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was also a spy, and that it was the former newspaper baron who introduced Epstein and his daughter to the Israeli intelligence agency. Now, I've been saying since the beginning of this, what kind of an idiot do you have to be to walk into a house filled? Maybe they just didn't care. Yeah, sure, I'll give Israel what they want. And again, on the Richie Allen show this morning, we discussed the possibility that Trump had fallen into Epstein's honey trap, and maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but he didn't need to. He's giving Israel absolutely everything that they want. Well, apparently, Epstein's accuser has now hit out against Prince Andrew and Alan Dershowitz in the wake of potential new evidence. So, right now, at least in Europe, there's a huge focus on Prince Andrew. And apparently, Bill and Hillary Clinton were regular guests at Epstein's ranch in New Mexico, and even Chelsea stayed there. Now, this was the ranch that Epstein called his baby factory because he wanted to repopulate the earth with his DNA. Talk about ego here. All right, let's talk about the economic news here a little bit. Google stocks rise and add $13 billion to the company's valuation after Larry Page and Sergey Brin relinquished their control of Alphabet to Sundar Pichai amid mounting scandals and antitrust investigations. So Page and Brin, both 46, announced in a blog post on Tuesday they're going to be stepping down as Alphabet's CEO and president, respectively. And immediately, the company's value shot up. All righty. Over in Los Angeles, their head of homelessness is resigning after presiding over a 33% increase in homelessness over the course of just 5 years. Now, this is Peter Lynn, head of the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, announced that he would leave at the end of the year, with the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority having splashed out a total of more than $780 million to absolutely no avail. The city's homeless population jumped a further 12% from 2018 to 2019, but despite Lynn's total failure, LA Mayor Eric Garcetti claimed he did an excellent job and oversaw historic action. One wonders how badly Lynn would have had to perform for officials to consider his tenure a failure. But then that's the way it always is with politicians. No matter how badly they mess up, oh, he was a great human being. He was a wonderful humanitarian and, a good friend of mine, blah, 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 blah. Over at the World Trade Organization, their appeals panel will cease to function starting the 11th of this month when one of its 3 remaining members plans to step down. Thomas Graham, the chairman of the WTO's powerful appellate body, told officials this month that he won't agree to consider disputes after December 11th when his term ends, and said the people who ask not to be identified discussing internal deliberations. Traditionally, panel members whose terms have expired can continue to hear pending disputes. This guy doesn't want to. And this will effectively paralyze the most important function of the Geneva-based trade organization, which upholds, modifies, or reverses WTO rulings at a time when multilateral relationships have come under assault from protectionist currents. It's really what it was about. Ray Dalio and Paul Tudor Jones are out there saying that the worst crisis since the 1930s is coming. And it does look like it. Apparently, the Trump administration is going to cut 750,000 Americans from the food stamp program before the recession actually gets here. And we got to take another break for commercials. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Runnings of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And basically, the U.S. House voted to sanction Chinese officials over the abuse of the Uyghurs, Uighur. And China wasted no time issuing a harshly worded response, basically saying that the United States was using this issue to interfere in China's internal affairs. So hope for a U.S.-China trade deal is now completely dead, and as a result, Wall Street is starting to panic. All righty, in the U.S., 13.5% of 15-year-olds can distinguish between fact and opinion when trying to interpret a complex reading tasks. Now, the reason this is significant is if you go over to China, those kids are much better educated. They're much more discerning. So we're definitely being dumbed down here. All right, 7 maps are predicting how much snow could still fall in Massachusetts through Thursday. Well, that was last night. We are in the middle of a prolonged winter storm, this according to the National Weather Service. And the storm, which began Sunday, is forecast to continue to bring additional snowfall to the region through Tuesday morning. Most of Massachusetts is under a winter storm warning or winter weather advisory through 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. And we're probably going to get thunder showers here over the weekend here. All righty. Japanese government has announced that the process of removing the melted fuel rods from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant will start in 2021. This is the most difficult and tricky part of the operation, to clean up that reactor. All righty, let's see. Let's see, I was looking for, first of all, a lot of members have been posting articles about phones. Apple admits iPhone 11 Pro still collects location data even when told not to. AT&T says TV losses have peaked after the latest loss of 1.3 million customers. And by the way, just as a comment here, the remote control on our cable box burned out over the weekend. So finally got that taken care of. And again, they're still out there with the Daily Mail. Last month was the joint hottest November on record, on a par with temperatures seen in 2015 and 2016. So they're still out there pushing this whole human-caused global warming. Now, we have been talking about the fact that there's going to be food shortages. And that's because of the late spring, massive flooding that just rendered the fields sodden. And now, with the early arrival of winter, problem is getting worse. And it's starting to show up. And apparently, people in the US and Canada could face a shortage of French fries due to a poor potato crop. And they're absolutely, let's see. There was one that I was looking for. NASA probe endures brutal 2,400 degree Fahrenheit temperatures to get within just 15 million miles of the sun's surface and uncover solar wind mysteries. Okay, here we go. Pennsylvania Representative Johnson Harrell is charged with stealing $500,000. And prosecutors charged a State House representative from Philadelphia on Wednesday with enriching herself by stealing money from a nonprofit organization she founded to serve the mentally ill and poor who were fighting addiction. Seems that we've heard this one before. Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro's office accused State Representative Movita Johnson Harrell of perjury, tampering with public records, theft, and other charges. They're expecting a plea deal to be worked out. And that's another problem, these plea deals. That's why no politicians ever go to jail. It's a plea deal. They plead out. Okay. Trump is now considering send another 14,000 troops to the Mideast. It's depressing here. The average adult spends nearly 80,000 hours of their life watching TV, this according to a recent study. DARPA is developing a smart suit to protect against biological attacks. And apparently Joe Biden has struck again. Video emerges of him talking about how much he loves to have children sit on his lap and stroke his hairy legs. Just insane here. General Motors is getting ready to lay off 800 workers at Detroit Hamtramck. Don't tell me it's a good economy. Definitely do not tell me it's a good economy. And let's see, Western France runs out of gas as mass strikes set to paralyze the entire nation. A lot of people are very unhappy. Establishment media now openly pushing tech giants to censor all independent media. Well, gosh darn. So, let's see. America's crumbling infrastructure could have been rebuilt 3 times and all its homeless people accommodated. But you know, governing is choosing, governing is prioritizing, and the wars are much more important than rebuilding our highways and rail systems and so forth here. Doug Casey's out there saying the last trade wars brought on a recession, and yeah, definitely does do that. Okay, George Zimmerman is suing the family of Trayvon Martin, the unarmed teen he shot and killed. Now, he's a Neighborhood Watch volunteer. He was acquitted of homicide charges in the 2012 fatal shooting of unarmed 17-year-old Trayvon Martin in Central Florida. He's now suing the family, prosecutors, and others involved in the case he claims rested on false evidence, according to a copy of the suit sent to the media Wednesday. Zimmerman is represented by Larry Klayman, a high-profile legal crusader tied to conservative causes and the founder of Judicial Watch before splitting with the activist group. And now he's down there with Liberty Watch. Tom Fitton is in control of Judicial Watch. All righty. WebMD and Healthline expose violating your privacy. That would be true. And another little article, this one's from Investment Watch blog, saying that this would be the first impeachment in history with no established crime. And that's absolutely correct. Schiff has nothing. It's hearsay and rumor and innuendo, but by golly, they want to get him, and they're going to get him. Now, the way the Constitution is written, to impeach and remove from office a politician like a president, there has to be a high crime or misdemeanor, and they don't have that. They absolutely do not have that. Okay. Letter on how to advise a teenage daughter on climate change. They're still pushing that. They're still pushing that. And next week, when we've got tons of snow all over the ground, I'm going to take pictures. Speaking of pictures, something I got off of eBay was a trail camera. And you've probably seen them on various TV shows. And I just got the one, and it was used. I spent about $30 on it. And already I'm catching deer on it at night when they come in to lick the salt block. So that's a lot of fun. And I would have to say that that's one of the things I do like about Indiana is the wildlife. And, you know, silly old man here, I put out bird seed and salt licks and, you know, just take pictures of all the wildlife here. Okay, being on here. Big sister is watching after what you're watching. Trump calls Trudeau two-faced after the video appears to show him being mocked. And of course, the two-face is a reference to the fact that Trudeau did a blackface some years ago, which is a tacky no-no now. Apparently, the explanation for Kamala Harris's decision to quit the 2020 race is that nobody was showing up at her events here. All right. All righty. All right, let's go back here and see what we've got. Tulsi Gabbard is claiming she was threatened in 2016 when she decided to endorse Bernie Sanders. Now, Tulsi responded by resigning as co-chair of the DNC, and she's been attacked with libel and slander as a Russian asset ever since. Apparently, 2 Hillary Clinton donors have been indicted for funneling illegal cash to the 2016 campaign, one of which was this convicted pedophile. And Israeli agents killed 2 Hamas fighters when they were rumbled in Gaza before calling in an airstrike to cover their escape, sparking a Palestinian rocket attack. So, violence still goes on. Apparently, there's a video out of a Republican calling for the hanging of Ilhan Omar and other Democrats for being traitors. I'm not comfortable with that word. The textbook definition of treason is aid and comfort to the enemy in time of war. And as we are not yet at a civil war, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think some of these people ought to be given a good thick coating of tar and feathers and run out of town on a rail. But I don't think we need to hang them, and I don't think we need to call them traitors. All righty. And again, a lot of people put up these stories about phones using GNU Linux or Librem 5. And I'm sure for the hobbyist, that's all a huge amount of fun. And again, as I said, when I was younger, I liked taking apart machines, putting them back together, hot rodding them. But I'm too old for that sort of thing now. And I just want to buy the appliance that I need, have it work for me, and not have to fuss around with it. I hate having to tinker. I hate having to tinker. All righty. Apparently, Ellen Brown is out there talking public banks, and I think that's definitely something that needs to be done. Okay, somebody wrote in an email for Dustin, and it says, LA housing is crazy. I have a 684 square foot 1-bedroom condo that lists at $375,000. It would rent for approximately $1,600 a month. It's in the nicer part of Orange County. Rent in Orange County varies greatly from where you are. A condo like mine in a bad LA area would rent for probably $1,200. Of course, one of the reasons that we moved here to Indiana was that the rent where we lived overlooking Pearl Harbor was very, very high. And now we're paying less than half of the rent we did. We just have to deal with the snow. Okay. Apparently, there's been an active shooting situation on Jackson State University in Mississippi, and happened earlier today. Police say a man was wounded after he was shot on campus on Lynch Street. The suspected shooter was said to be driving a black Honda Accord with the license plate number MAC 0214. So they put the campus down on lockdown, and they're hunting for that guy. Let's see. Somebody wrote in a comment about Greta Thunberg also displays strong physical evidence of fetal alcohol syndrome. Well, maybe not. I don't think we should pick on her, though. That makes her more sympathetic, and people are going to listen to her for that very reason. All right, we got to take a break for commercials. We're going to be back with the last segment of our program after these few words.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus magful clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. Final segment of our program today here. And as we mentioned before, apparently now there's 2 Hillary Clinton donors indicted for funneling illegal cash to her. And here is a story that is just now coming on in. Apparently This is coming from conservativechoicecampaign.com. And according to this report, Adam Schiff is connected to both companies named in a $7.4 billion Burisma U.S.-Ukraine corruption case. And now it's all starting to make sense. He's out after Trump before Trump realizes what it is that Schiff has been doing. So there's just a huge amount of corruption out there. There's another email here. I know that you and Claire had planned a snowball fight when the snow accumulation adds up. Actually, we hadn't. Law enforcement is going to be very busy rounding up kids for throwing snowballs. How ridiculous is this? Kids are not allowed to be kids. What will they dream up next? Kids will have to have a driver's license to push a lawnmower or shovel snow. And it does seem as if we're headed in that direction. But yeah. Okay, apparently this school shooting was with a pellet gun. So everybody's calming down. Excuse me. All righty. Okay. Here's an article coming out of the Real News Network. Do we still need NATO? Well, at the end of World War II, when there was a Cold War with the Soviet Union, NATO was thought to be necessary to basically deter the Soviet Union from doing something nasty. But Russia's been our friend up until Trump goaded the dragon. If he hadn't done that, we'd stayed friends, we wouldn't need NATO. But of course, the weapons manufacturers, they love spending. That's really what it's all about. Just keep cranking that money. It's like that guy talking about the phone, where you're constantly being told you've got to have the latest and greatest phone at huge expense. And the same thing applies to the military-industrial complex, where you have to have the latest and greatest weaponry. It's anything like the original Cold War, hardly any of it ever gets used. It just sits there on display on the runway or in the harbor. Everybody smiles at it. All right, there's the music. Time for me to get out of here and get something useful done with the rest of the day. Stay tuned for John Stadmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word about RBN. Spread the word about whatreallyhappened.com. And please support both of our endeavors. And we'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.